welcome back to the Jac and Glen channel. I'm Jackie.
I'm her husband, Glenn.
He's my husband, Glenn.
Before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button and that bell notification so you don't miss any of our reviews.
And if you like listening to audiobooks, click the link in the description for a free 30-day trial with Audible. And while you're online, if you're doing some shopping, you can use the Rakuten link below to get a $10 credit.
Let's get started with this bomb of a show.
Oh my gosh.
They said it. Look, Married at First Sight was started off with a explosion. We see Chris talking to the producers, and they're encouraging him to tell her. He doesn't want to. He's adamant, I don't want to tell her. It's devastating news. I don't want to tell her. Well, you have to tell her. How can you not tell her? And they keep telling him, you need to tell her. But he doesn't want to. Like, he's adamant, I don't want to tell her. Whatsoever. Like, you don't want to tell her ever? No, I don't want to tell her ever. Married at First Sight, I'm like, really? We're going to start the episode like this? We're going to start it with, I said, I can't believe we are starting with this. We started with drama. It's going to end with drama.
Man.
Great TV.
Oh my gosh. I was like in disbelief. So they show us that this was 2 hours after. Mm-hmm. So we go back 2 hours. Okay. And we're just going to run the whole thing with Chris.
Yeah.
With Chris and Paige. I mean, it just is what it is.
Roll the tape.
We're gonna revisit them at the end because we're gonna have to. But all right, so we see Chris and Paige. They're sitting down to eat, and they're chatting. And then Paige says, "I thought this was funny." Paige says, "You're not gonna bless your food," and so he bows his head real quick. Lord bless my food, amen. She's like, "Oh wow." Okay.
He was hungry though. He was hungry.
That's how you go bless your food. But anyway, so they sit there and make small talk. And Paige makes the comment that talking to him is like pulling teeth sometimes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like she's pulling teeth. She's trying to get this out of him and get that out of him. So she knows she's making small talk. What's going on with you? And so he says, this morning I got some news. I'm not saying it's devastating, but it is surprising and hard to deal with. He's hinting at it. It's something I'm going to have to deal with on my own. Like, dudes, you throwing too much bait out there for her not to ask questions.
Right. So she asked, "What's the news?"
I was like, "Yeah, I don't really want to say." Bro, you laid the whole foundation for me to be on edge to want to know what's going on. For you to say, "Yeah, I'm gonna have to deal with him on it. I'm not gonna say anything."
And this is what he doesn't understand. He's married now, so whatever news you get, it's gonna affect you and your wife. We saw with Brianna and Vincent. Vincent got some news about his grandma, and it affected both of them.
Yes.
So when you're married, whatever news you get, even though it might be your personal, it affects your wife. Mm-hmm. It affects your spouse. I guess he doesn't get that. I know it's only 3 days since they've been married, mm-hmm. But guess what? It affects everyone that's involved in that relationship.
Absolutely. And so he just skirts around it. I'm going to deal with it. He says, "I'm good." And she says, "Well, that's fine that you're good, but it's not just about you, it's about us."
Yes. And
he's basically, I'm good without telling you. I'm not gonna say anything, it just is what it is. And, she's just really trying to pull it out of him, and he means he's not gonna say anything. So she walks off, and she's like, "It's too much. I can't do it. I don't feel like this is, what is going on?" She goes to talk to the producers.
She pulls a Mika.
Yeah, but not to the extreme that Mika would have. That's what we talked about. Mika would have gone further with it.
Yeah.
But she goes to producers. He's got something going on. He doesn't want to tell me about what's going on. And the producer's like, we'd rather him tell you. So she's like, so everybody knows but me? Okay, what's really going on? This too much.
This is where it made me think. When did he get this call? And where was she at when he got it?
Right.
That everybody knows except for her. Did he go downstairs to the lobby? Did he wake up in the middle of the night? Did he go somewhere and secretly, and she didn't know where the cameras followed him? Because everybody knows except for her. When did he get the call? And then when he got the call, why did he leave it so that producers knew? To me, I'm thinking I'm taking this call in the bathroom. If I see my ex calling me, I'm going to the bathroom Like, and I'm not having it on speaker. I'm having it on, hey, how you doing, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not having it out there where if it drops the news, it's going to be bombshell. Only person may know is me.
Mm-hmm.
But now everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
That what made me think, like, dog, you let everybody know your secret?
Yeah.
And you expecting her not to know? If everybody knows and she don't know, eventually she's gonna know, and it's better for you to tell her.
Yeah. So we see Paige, she comes to Chris because this is when he's telling the producers, like, I'm not gonna tell her, I don't wanna tell her, I don't wanna tell her, I don't wanna tell her. And she comes to him and she's like, what is it that you're telling everybody except me? And he was like, no, everybody doesn't know. Point is, what do some people know that you don't want to tell me?
Mm-hmm.
And so we see, I don't know if it's from Chris watching past seasons or they figured it out, but he takes her in the bathroom. He closes the door because we know the cameras can't go with them in the bathroom. It's an invasion of privacy.
He pulls some the CIA looking after me FBI type move. like I've been bug tapped before, and this is how it works. Like, you can watch a lot of gangster movies. So let's go in the bathroom. Let's cut on a whole bunch of water.
He turned on the tub. He turned on the sink. He tells her, take your mic off. Me, myself, if I'm Paige, no, I'm not taking no mic off. They know already anyway. I'm not taking my mic off.
She took it off.
Bruh, she did.
She took it off.
I promise you I would not have taken my mic off. It just is what it is. If it's going to embarrass you, embarrass me, it just is what it is. And so, then we see him come out, and the producer's like, what happened? What did she say? Well, matter of fact, while they're in there, they're outside, trying to get the mics close, see if they can pick something up. The cameras are there. They're trying to pick something up, and they ain't getting nothing because, like you said, FBI, CIA, all the water's on. Like, they probably in there whispering. He probably in her ear telling her.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Chris comes out first. She's in there having a moment. A moment. Ooh, I almost said something. Ooh, brother. This is more than a moment. And so she comes out and she is like stunned. She's stunned.
She numb.
Obviously so. She said, I'm numb. I don't know if I can move forward at this point. Like, I don't know. I don't know. She's like, I need some time to think about it. I just don't know. I just don't know. I'm like, wow.
This is her way of escape. We'll go later on. She'll talk about all this God stuff. God, all this. Look, sometimes when all the news is bad and all the relationship ain't good, God ain't put that together. You got to know when to, as Kenny Rogers said, know when to hold them, know when to fold them, and know when to walk away. And I know, man, Chris may be the greatest guy for whatever people think. He may be good. He may treat her right. He may lay it down in the sheets. But you ain't signed up for this. You didn't sign up for this. And I'm looking at it from a father perspective. What advice would I give my daughter if she called home 3 days into her honeymoon and said, Dad.
Into her marriage, not even into her honeymoon.
3 days into her marriage. And she said, Dad, my husband, we just found out that he has a baby. And the girl is 6 weeks pregnant.
But she don't even know that yet. We're going to get to that.
We get that. And I'll give you my fatherly perspective.
Really?
To my daughter.
She don't even know that yet. Okay, so we're going to keep going with Chris and Paige. So then later we see, Paige gets dressed and she leaves out and she goes to talk to Brianna.
Yes.
And Brianna's like, what's up, girl? How you doing? And she was like, girl, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. What's going on? And she tells Brianna that Chris's ex-fiance is pregnant. And Brianna's like, oh, bleep.
Yeah.
And Paige is like, bleep is right.
Dog.
What?
Again.
What?
Brianna's like, I didn't sign. You didn't sign up for this. You didn't sign up for this.
No. And alternatively, we see Chris talking to Vincent.
Right.
And he tells Vincent about the pregnancy. And that he had to tell Paige. And so Vincent's like, how did she take it? He said, I haven't seen her since I told her.
Yeah.
I haven't seen her since I told her. And so the story goes.
Dog.
They broke up in May. Chris and his ex-fiance, they broke up in May 2020.
Yes.
Based on what we know, these weddings took place in what, August, September?
Mm-hmm.
They broke up in May. But he's telling Vincent they've had sex since then. Y'all ain't broke up. Doggone it. Y'all in a situationship.
He took advantage of her.
You in a situationship.
No, he took advantage of it because when he goes on to say why, later on we find out he talks about because her dad had died and they was at a funeral. They was at the funeral together. He was consoling her. And he was helping her.
And they fell up in the bed.
And they fell up in the bed.
That has nothing to do with consolation.
They fell up in the bed.
So Chris tells Vincent, I think she's known for a few weeks, but she didn't tell him right away. He's 100% confident that she's telling the truth, that it's his baby. He's like, this chick is honest. I know her. She wouldn't lie about that. I know it's mine. And
because Vincent asked, why would she wait till now?
Right. After the wedding.
After the wedding. He like, the timing seems a little bit, which is true. Why didn't she say this a week or two ago? They had 2 weeks between.
Because she gets the confirmation. See, being a mother of 3 children, 3 living children, and having had miscarriages also. Okay, I'm gonna say I'm experienced in this. Plus my background as far as my career. This way, so she took the pregnancy test. The pregnancy test is not your sure thing. When you go to the doctor and you tell them I took a positive pregnancy test, they're gonna be like, okay, I've had them. Like, I've taken a pregnancy test soon as I missed a period.
Mm-hmm.
Soon as I realized it might have been 1 or 2 weeks. But I've been to the doctor time when they were like, they have to wait till you're at least 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks before they want to confirm it.
Right.
They do their pregnancy test. They do an ultrasound. So she probably took the pregnancy test, and then she finally got to the doctor, and the doctor confirmed it. And that's when, I'm not saying the timing still ain't funny, but that's probably what happened.
Okay.
And so she called him. She probably got wind of the wedding too. That I know that probably contributed. But more than anything, I like to say that it's because she actually got a confirmation besides the stick she peed on.
Well, you nice.
They drew her blood at the doctor's office, and her beta HCG was off the charts. And yes, you are pregnant. And she was like, "Oh snap!"
Let me call him.
Okay. Yes. But we see Paige talking to Brianna, and she's like, I feel like I got the short end of the stick. Brianna said, and you did.
And you did.
And did, sis.
Ain't no.
And is short end of the stick.
Ain't no lie about that. You got the short end of the stick. Matter of fact, you didn't even get a stick. You got a twig.
She says, I don't know how much more I can handle. We done went through us being intimate. He said he not attracted to me. And now here, your ex-fiance is pregnant.
The one that you talked about at the wedding.
The one you talked about at the wedding, she's pregnant. And Brianna's like, well, do you know how far along she is? When this happened? And Paige is like, I didn't get that far. We didn't get into all that. Meanwhile, he's telling Vincent all of this.
Yes.
He's telling Vincent all of this. He tells Vincent that him and Paige have been intimate.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, if Paige wasn't in the picture, would he get back with the ex? And he said that would be the inclination because you want to be a family. My inclination would be to go back with her. But he wants to work through this. Now, he told Vincent this. I'm going to fast forward. Paige asked him the same question.
Yes.
Do you think it's that she's trying to be back with, does she want to be back with you because of the baby?
Mm-hmm.
Would you go back with her? And he evades the question altogether. He says, well, but I'm married and my priority is my wife. That's real nice and that's sweet. And if we had gone through this thing in a different manner besides married at first sight, I could take that. Your priority is your wife. Bro, we only 3 days in. You don't know me that well enough for me to be your priority. That's crap.
Nah, we're 3 days in. You don't know me enough. and you love this other woman because you was already married to her.
No, engaged.
Engaged to her, sorry.
You wanted to be married to her.
You wanted to be married to her. You was engaged to her. You wanted babies. Now she's giving you what I have not given you yet. So it's going to be feelings that's there. He's confused. He's mixed right now. He don't know which way to do. He don't know which way to go. Do I go with the one that I'm attracted with? Because I'm attracted to her. Because Vincent reminded him to do, dog, we signed papers. We're legal. You're married. So you're technically married to Paige in this stage of your life. And you got somebody else pregnant. Yeah, so he's in a rock between a rock and a hard place. Mm-hmm. And he has decisions that he got to make, and it's weighing on his mind. Mm-hmm. It's weighing on. You can see that it's weighing on his mind because he wants to do the right thing. Because I still think deep inside he wants to do the right thing. Mm-hmm. He just doesn't know how to articulate it. He doesn't know how to say it, but he wants to do the right thing. Yeah,
Brianna makes a point to say to Paige that you have to think about it like this, hon. You got to think about yourself. Mm-hmm. Because the truth of the matter is, before the wedding day, he wasn't thinking about his future wife, but he was thinking about what he wanted.
Yes.
Again, they told them they were getting married in 2 weeks. The process of vetting them for the show and to be married at first sight happened before that. We're not sure exactly how far before that. Mm-hmm. But it seems like while he's in that process, or right before he got into Married at First Sight process, audition, whatever you want to call it, that's about the time he says Chickie is 6 weeks pregnant. Brianna, you're right. He wasn't thinking about his future wife. He was thinking about, he was thinking about his future wife, that one. The one that's pregnant.
He's thinking about getting skins, dog.
The one that's pregnant. I told you homie had a problem. Anytime you got to fast from masturbate, you got a problem.
He can't stop.
You got a problem.
Sexual is a sexual addiction. You
got a problem. We see Brianna, I'm going to throw this in there. We see Brianna and Vincent, they meet back after they talk to Chris and Paige. And they like, whoo-wee. Bruh, did you hear what I heard? Did he tell you what she told me? Yep.
Basically, like, glad ain't us.
Yeah, basically. They were like, he shared with Brianna that Chickie Boo is 6 weeks pregnant. Mm-hmm. And they're both like, man, this is rough. Vincent said if it was me, I would dip. If you don't know what dip means, I would leave. I wouldn't be in it. I'd be like, forget it. Brianna was like, me too, bruh.
Put me on a plane back to Atlanta.
Me too, bruh. And Brianna said, I would never be the person to tell Paige what to do, but I really do hope. I wish she would leave. I hope she plans to leave. This ridiculous. Don't nobody need to put up with this. No. For what?
She doesn't need to put up with it. Again, to my statement, Brianna talks about God. Paige talks about God again. And Bible says his word, he provides you a way of escape. This is your escape. This is your way out. If you don't want drama, if somebody comes into your life and they bring more drama into your life than you had beforehand, newsflash, that's not God.
Okay, so you went there, I'm going to go there too. I told you I was. Scripture says, the blessings of the Lord maketh one rich, and it addeth no sorrow with it. Blessings of the Lord make you rich. Not money rich, no. Prosperous rich, wealthy, prosperous in your life. It doesn't add any sorrow. I see sorrow being added.
Like, ever since she met this dude, is sorrow.
Man.
She's been upset. You've been drama. You didn't have all this before you met this dude.
And I don't have... And, honey, you do not have to put in... I know you signed the paper. I know it's a legally binding marriage. I know that. Guess what? I don't have... But you don't have to stay in it.
Bounce.
You don't have to stay in the state that you're in.
Bounce.
You don't have to do it.
You didn't sign up to be... And nothing against Chris. You didn't sign up to be a stepmother. You didn't sign up to have baby mama drama because you're going to have it.
Yes, it's coming.
It's coming. You didn't sign up to raise somebody else's kids. You didn't sign up for none of this. You signed up to find a husband. Now, because the husband you found was loose and sexually out there before you got married, he brought a lot of baggage into your marriage. You don't have to You don't have to pick up his baggage. You don't have to pick that up. She can go now, regardless of what the show says, regardless of the contract. I'm sure there's a loophole in the Married at First Sight contracts. This should be one. If it ain't one, they should add this one. But she should be gone.
Man.
This is too much drama for me. 3 days in and I got all this. And I didn't sign up for it. I signed up to have a husband.
Chris and Paige talking later. She says, basically, I'm checked out. I'm tired already. He asked her what's on her mind. And she was like, look, I'm going to let you lead this conversation.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you lead the conversation. And he's basically, well, I don't know where your mind is at. I don't know what to say. Well, you better say something. She was like, I'm through. I'm not initiating a conversation. I'm not going to just give you my feelings. Basically, what she says to him is, you need to step up and be a man, and let's talk about it.
You can see she's holding back here.
Yeah.
She's trying to be real respectful. She's not trying to come off on TV as the angry black woman.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not even that. I just really think she's trying to light a fire under him, like, this your mess, like, figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure it out. And so he tells her that she's 6 weeks pregnant. Their last interaction was 6 weeks ago. Like we said before, her dad passed. They were comforting each other. He paid his respect, and they ended up being intimate at the time.
Funeral sex.
Anyway, she's been stressed out. He's stressed out. Chris says his main concern is Paige. She deserves better than what's been dished out. No kidding. No crap, Sherlock. And you know how it goes. It don't say crap. No stuff, Sherlock.
Yeah, she deserves better. And this is where he was like, if you want to go, you can go.
And she says, I'm still trying to figure out what to do. He said, well, if decision day was today, what would you say? I'd walk away. She said, I would. Guess what? Today is decision day. Walk away, hon.
Walk away.
Walk away. Go.
It can't get any better. I'm sorry. In this relationship, and she may like Chris, and Chris may really like her, but it can't get any better than this. It doesn't get better. It's like too much drama from day one. Y'all started off with drama.
He says he's emotionally drained. He's nervous, but he's in it for the long haul. She said, I'm the type of person, I don't like my time being wasted. He's like, I'll support you in whatever decision you make. Is whatever. He put the ball in her court. She was like, well, I feel like, God won't put more on you than you can bear.
Wrong scripture. Yeah. wrong scripture.
He tells her, come on, it's so many red flags. It's so many red flags. He says it doesn't matter if she's pregnant or not. This is after she asks, do you think that she's thinking y'all might get back together? What you gonna do about the baby? Would you be with her if it wasn't this? Like, what would you do? He said, doesn't matter. If she's pregnant or not. I married you. I'm in this. That's my wife is my priority. I'm coming with that. He just really skirted around the issue. And the fact of the matter is that we see in another. I think it's the preview. Basically, that's what he said. He said that to Vincent. You know what I'm saying? Of course, the inclination is for you to be together as a family. You got a baby on the way. Duh.
Even if you try to keep the two lives separate, it's not. You're married. This is going to take your finances. This is going to take your time away. She's going to want you to be at doctor's appointments. She may want you to be there when you give birth, when she gives birth. She may want to use your last name. She may want to...
that might be Chris the Third or Crystal, like the daddy said.
Right. So it becomes much more. Now you're dealing with our issue. Now if you don't stay married, if you don't get with her, she may want you to pay child support. So now we're connected together because our finances are together. Now we have to pay for this baby. That you created prior to our marriage. So if that's not the life you want, Paige...
Bye. Go, girl. Run. Forrest, run.
And if that's the life you want, then stay. But if you stay, don't complain.
No.
If you make the decision to go, then go. That's the thing. She has a way out. This is your out. Take it.
His suggestion is that at this point, let's just let's build a friendship. You know, the best marriages are built on a friendship. Let's build a friendship. And I think that's how we're gonna make it through. Since, you know, you're gonna stick in there, let's just focus on a friendship, and that's how we're gonna make it through. Yeah, Chris. So then we see all the couples get together. We see all the couples get together, and so we see Brianna and Vincent, and they sitting there, and you know, they all cuddled up and bunned up, and they talk about, you know, we so good, didn't think the match would be like this. Oh wow, boom, 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 whoop, whoop, whoop. Yep. We see Haley and Jacob, and she talks about how their families hit it off at the wedding and at the reception, and how even the weird couple is starting to vibe. Right. They're starting to feel each other out. Clara and Ryan says, you know, we have a very strong, intricate, weird connections. The way we vibe together. She talks about how she had been used to making playlists for guys that she was dating, and he made a playlist for her, and the experts wouldn't have known that. And Brianna's like, okay, so it's like you getting back what you put out before. You didn't get that back. You know, it's all gumdrops and a flowers and, you know, and rainbows and everything, and everybody else. You see Chris is over there seething, because it's like everything's going so good for everybody else, and ours freaking sucks.
But it's because of him.
And they asked Chris, okay, hey, how y'all been going? Like, I mean, their posture is off. They're not sitting near each other. They're not really talking to each other. What's going on? And so they looking at each other. Should I say something? Do you want to say something? I mean, you're going to find out anyway. Do I say it? What would you want to do?
And he finally said it. He finally said, you know what?
They feel like, you know, they've had a little rocky road. Before that, though, they've had a little rocky road. But him and Paige said, you know, our faith will take us through this. You know, whatever we got to go through. Here she go again. Stop. But anyway, and so Chris tells the group, I got a call this morning. It's not, you know, it can be devastating. It is what it is, but my ex-fiance is pregnant. And Claire was like, good God.
Good God Almighty. Claire was like, good God. Her mouth open wide, eyes got big.
I like that Brianna and Vincent, they didn't like play like they didn't know, but they didn't say, oh yeah, they told us this morning. They was looking like, wow.
He was like, don't tell her. Vincent was like, don't say nothing.
Yeah, I mean, but Brianna didn't look like she was going, to Chris? Yeah. They was looking like,
Just not a good place to do it. I wouldn't tell you people.
I promise you I wouldn't have said nothing to everybody. For what? It's none of their business.
No.
It's none of their business. And if they find out by default, they find out by default. But I'm not getting ready to put my business out in this whole group, because the thing is, we find out later. You put your business out to the group, then you open yourself up to the opinions of other people. And if you're not ready for everybody's opinion, then you should have kept your comment to yourself. Keep your issue to yourself. But no, you want to share. Okay, so guess what? You're going to get what you get. And so Claire's like, you know, Haley says it and Clara says it. You know, Clara says, I don't know you that well, Chris, but I feel like I've gotten to know Paige. And, you know, Paige, that's a good woman you got there. Yep. You know, I think she can handle anything that's thrown her way. Clara says the same thing. If anybody can handle it, it would be you. And underneath that subliminal is, girl, you better than me. That's what I heard. Girl, you better than me.
And Chris felt like they gave her Paige all the support and didn't give him none.
Yeah, he was like, you mean the group is supportive, but I feel like the support is more geared towards Paige. It should be. What am I supporting you for? You the one, you have made a mess of this 3 days in, bro. 3 days in. Not
protecting yourself. Because let's be honest. 6 weeks in, you know you applied for the show. You know you've been that you've been selected to be part of the show.
That's what we saying.
Even if you had sex with your ex, you could have used protection. Could have used protection, knowing that you may get picked for this show. You chose not to. So it goes back to you. Why should they be supporting you? Why should they have a pity party for you? Shouldn't be. You're the one that messed up. You can't support the misbehavior. So
Virginia and Eric are late. They made a joke about the fact that Virginia's always late. Mm-hmm. In the scene where they talk to Virginia and Eric, they have a whole conversation about her running late. And so she comes in, and you know, she comes in while they talking, and we see Chris while everybody's chit-chatting or whatever. No. Before that, Virginia and Eric are late while they're having this whole conversation. And so they're still talking about their relationships and sharing how everything's going. And we see Chris whispering to Paige something in her ear, blah, 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 blah. And so then he gets up and walks away. And that's when he shares, you know, I feel bad that everybody else looks all happy and stuff, and we're not. And he said, I didn't want to break down in front of everybody. We see Paige later going to check on him, and he shares the same thing. You know, everybody's so happy and everything. It's like, you know, I'm sorry you're in this miserable state. Like, we're just not in a good place. And, you know, she says, you know, don't compare us to them. Everybody's journey is going to be different. Don't compare us to them. And, you know, we're going to make our way the way we are. And he's like, you know, I know she's trying to help and everything, but he says right now I don't feel like being bothered. Guess what? Don't bother him. Go back to the group.
Again, he cares, but in the midst of his caring, there's still manipulation. And even in the midst of his caring, there's still manipulation.
The word for the day.
He's torn.
Manipulation. The word for the day.
He's torn. He's torn between the two. When you're dealing with somebody who's torn, I want to do right, but I also want people to feel sorry for me. I want to do right. I want people to feel sorry for me. He is torn, and there's manipulation that's in there. He wants to have this, but again, he wants his cake and eat it too. You don't expect this woman to be happy or your relationship to be happy when she finds out that the guy that I'm married to is a father to somebody else 3 days into our wedding. You can't expect into our marriage. You can't expect a woman to be happy when you already told this woman that I'm not attracted to you, and the only reason I had sex with you to see if I could get attracted. See if I can get attracted.
Meanwhile, I'm obviously attracted to her because in the midst of grief, we in here doing it.
So you can't expect her to be happy, and you can't expect to be like other couples because other couples don't got the same news that you just gave your wife.
Paige is so kind. She's like, you know, do you think you can make it through the meeting? Do you think you can make it through then? Like, do you want to go back in there? You know, do you think you can make it through? And he says, yeah, you know, I'm gonna try. You know, he goes back. And so that's when Virginia and Eric show up.
He got one thing right. He got a submissive wife.
Man.
Because most wives, she's submissive, and she still try to put him on. She still try to cover him. She still try to keep him upright and happy. Most women would have told him, go over there and cry, leave him alone. Whatever, dude, I don't deal with you. She's good for even having that conversation with the other couple. Most women would have been mad. From the beginning of the honeymoon to other rest. Some women would have got on a plane back home that day.
Oh, I promise you. I think Clara said that. I'll be out of there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Virginia and Eric come in. And they're talking about what's the best thing about being married so far. And Eric's talking about, you know, they vibe so quickly. We just really fell in with each other, whatever. And Virginia asked the question, so has anybody been intimate yet? Or, would y'all even talk about it? And so I think Jacob said, my guess is that they made the joke about Vincent before. My guess is that Champagne Vincent over there, yeah, they did it or whatever. And so Brianna and Vincent shared, yes, we've been intimate. Chris and Paige were eerily quiet, which they should have been. This is not a good time to bring up that y'all had sex after you just told them. Like, you talk about, you think Clara said good God before? I promise you, she might have turned the little couches over there like, bro, are you kidding me? Right. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it wouldn't be good.
And so the whole time, you know, they having this conversation about, you know, intimacy and everything. And Haley and Jacob was like, you know, we'll get there, whatever. Virginia and Eric and Claire and Ryan, like, you know, we'll get there. We want it to happen organically, you know, blah, 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 blah. Which we didn't tell you about because, yeah, the part with Brianna and Vincent, they talked about the fact that, you know, they were intimate. But anyway, Chris and Paige's posture, the whole conversation was like, I mean, they looked like they was hurting, like my back, my feet, I can't really sit here, whatever. And so Eric asked Chris, what's up with you, man? What's up? What's going on? And Claire's like, bro, you missed a lot. You missed a lot. And Chris is like, but I don't really owe anybody an explanation or whatever. So right there, this is me. I'd have been like, you late to the convo. I'll let somebody else tell you. Because I'm not getting ready to repeat this again. But the dummy says it again. So then, again, you open yourself up for the opinions and the commentary of other people.
Yes.
You get what you get.
He opened it up. He opened himself up, he told her. And here comes the comment. Virginia makes a comment. Is the baby even yours? Chris was like, that's totally disrespectful.
That rubbed him the wrong way. Because it's one of two things. You call me a hoe and you calling her a hoe. Mm-hmm. Like, we just be screwing around. Or I deal with the type of chicks that would
lie about
call and tell me they pregnant by me when they know they not. Mm-hmm. But they sleeping with 2 and 3 and 4 different guys. He was like, it rubbed me the wrong way. It's disrespectful. You know, why would you ask that question? Then how does the ex feel? How does Paige feel about it? Now, you ask it to listen.
Now this is a little bit of alcohol talking. I'm sure Virginia a little bit of alcohol talking.
I don't think so.
She's asking a lot of questions, and Chris is getting irritated. And Virginia and Eric is not catching the signs when he's like, "Yo, enough. Like, let's change the subject." He was nice. He said, "Let's change the subject. Let's talk about something else."
This is why I say it's not alcohol, because Virginia drinks more than Eric, but Eric had just as much to say as Virginia. Listen, let me teach you something. Let me teach you something. Keep your comments. Keep your comments to yourself. Nobody else, all these other people heard the whole conversation before you, and here you come with your goddamn questions. I don't want your advice. You're not gonna help me in this situation. I don't know you that well. That's my lesson. When you don't know people that well, mm-hmm. You don't know their personalities. You don't know their life. They don't know you. Don't be interjecting your opinion and your suggestions. Leave it alone. You sit there and you listen just like everybody else, and you be like, wow, whew, that's rough. That's about all you do. Let me help you.
She couldn't stop.
Let me help you.
They couldn't stop.
Let me help you.
And he got irritated. They couldn't stop.
And that's why I said, if you've seen the previews, this is why I said what I said. Guess what? What Chris said at this point is the foundation for everything else that's going to come forward after this. He told them the best way that you can be respectful to us is to respect our privacy. That means keep all your extra questions, all your interrogating, all your digging, all your extra. Keep that to yourself. And so later on, that explains why in the preview, they're at the table, Chris about to go off. They on the bus, about to go off. Because I already told you, mind your business. Mind your business.
Mind your business.
And so you still want to keep putting your 2 cents in? You keep on putting your nose in my business? You're going to get what you get. And I'm not saying it's right. But guess what? You keep putting you don't tell me what to do.
It's between me and my wife. It's between me and my wife. I share the information with you. I let you say all that you said. Good. We're done now. I let you say what you said. We're done.
Leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
And Eric and Virginia didn't leave it alone.
They didn't know how to leave it alone. And they're not going to leave it alone for however many episodes going into the season some more.
Yeah.
Leave it alone. Okay, so we just spent most of this time talking about Chris and Paige because that's what they did on the episode. So we ain't going to tie you up too much longer. Chris wanted to change the subject. You know, and that's what it is. So real quick, we will hit everybody else real quick. Woo! Listen, I can't believe they did it like that. But anyway, we see Clara and Ryan rating their marriage. They rated about a 10 out of 10.
Yep.
They said they've gotten on a good start. They talk about being a matchy old couple, wearing matching clothes when they get older.
Yes.
They talk about being in a routine and being regimented. And Ryan's like, my parents are like that. They watch the same shows. They do the same thing, watch the news. They talk about the same thing. And so he's good with it. You know, if we do that kind of thing. And, you know, they talk about the fact that she's a flight attendant and how she doesn't necessarily have a routine schedule. She might be invited to the party, but it turns out she's not able to go because something has to with her work schedule.
Yep.
So they're going to have to deal with that. That's something they're going to have to work out, that he's so routine and she's not. They talk about if your house, how's your house?
Yeah.
And she's like, you know, I appreciate you putting up with my messy suitcase. And Ryan basically is like, you know, she says, my place is messy, got a lot of makeup, a lot of clothes, a lot of shoes. I'm bad about doing dishes. And so Ryan was like, well, for me, I wash the clothes, but I don't necessarily feel like folding them. And so they made a compromise. She says, okay, if you wash the clothes, you know, I'll fold them and put them away. That's how we're going to work that out.
That's good.
And he's... Yes, only thing is, he says, I don't really have a whole lot of closet space for all your stuff. They apparently have already talked about the fact that after decision day, if they're going to be together, they would go to his place.
His place.
And so that's the thing for her, like, is it going to be enough space for me? And she also says he's never lived with anybody before. She has. Somebody she's been in a relationship with. So she feels like it's going to be a culture shock for him when they move in together.
Yes.
She's not sure how he's going to take it because he's used to having his own space. She's not sure if he's going to be able to concede his space and make room for her in his space.
I think he will. I think at the period of time, by them living in this apartment, when they get back off their honeymoon, it will give him the opportunity to learn how to share space with somebody else. Mm-hmm. So give him that time to share space, and then they could be able to do it together. So I think he'll learn.
Yes. We saw a cute little thing where they went to go see the dolphins. As they were talking earlier, they say we're going to have this day on porpoise.
Yes.
Not on purpose, on porpoise. So they went to see the dolphins. They had a good time.
She saw the dolphins before Mika?
We talked about that.
She saw dolphins before Mika. Michael, if you watching, you still owe that girl a trip to see the dolphins.
You ought to pay for her to go. Your lying tail. But anyway, they take pictures with the dolphins. They do talk about kids. You know, do you want to have kids? Yes, yeah. I want to have kids eventually. Have you thought about any names? She said she thought about a name. The name Vera. I think she said it was her grandma, great-grandma, somebody in her family. And so he shared, well, the name I thought about was Elton. That's a family name for me. Like, how you gonna turn your nose up when I say the family name Elton that I want to use, but I didn't turn my name up at Vera. Vera's just as old as Elton.
Elton John Oubre.
They make a joke. Yes, let's name the baby Elton John Oubre. And she's like, well, I don't know. Like, we probably might not want to do that.
Might want to do that.
You might want to pass on that.
But then they had the question about church.
Yes. Would you want to raise your kids in church? And he was like, yes, I do. I feel like I want to give them a foundation. That's what the church is. And she was like, well, I don't know if I would do that because I was raised in church and I felt like I was forced to do it. I didn't have a choice. But the one thing I would want to instill in my children is the value of hard work and trying new things. She's not against church, but she doesn't want to force children into it. And Ryan's basically like, again, I feel like it's my job as a parent that I lay a foundation for them. I have to set some kind of standards for them off the top. Mm-hmm. What they do, and any parent will say this, what they do when they leave your house, you've laid the foundation.
Yes.
Train a child up in the way that they should go when they're old and want to depart from it. Okay, that's what the word says. So you want to lay a foundation for your children, whatever that foundation is. And so, I don't know. I got I think we got drugged to church. I'm not the hurt because of it. I mean, some people grow up in church, they get away from church, and that's fine. But I feel like whatever it is, I'm like with Ryan, you have to set a foundation for whatever it is that you want your children to grow into, if it's religion, if it's not, because she said, I want them to explore other religions, and that's fine. But I feel like in your house, you should have some kind of standard for something. You should
have some kind of standard, and whatever your standard is, that's your standard. And when they get grown and they get older and they make the decision that they want to change, that's fine. But at least you have a standard, a baseline for where you want them to be at.
Yes.
And so that's not forcing them. That's not look, we're going to church today. Just like we're going to the grocery store today. You take all of them to the grocery store. We're going to the mall. Here we go. We're going to church. So that's what needs to take place.
Mm-hmm. And so that's Clara and Ryan. Again, we see them at the meal with all the couples. So we talked about that. So let's go to Brianna and Vincent. Mm-hmm. Brianna and Vincent. He says his grandmother's doing better. It was just a scare. He appreciated how she had his back. That really meant a lot to him. Mm-hmm. That, they really feel connected. They feel real comfortable with each other. They talk about the fact that she's bossy.
Yeah, she's a boss chick.
And they talk about that because they're talking about where would you want to live. A high-rise, a condo, a townhouse. And he's like, I had a condo in mind or a townhome.
Townhome.
And she was like, well, I want a high rise, and he was like, well, yeah, they told me at the wedding that you was kind of bossy, so maybe I'll let you be the boss on that and make your decision. Okay, that's fine. They talk about having kids. They do want to have a family.
About 2-3 years.
He said in about 2 years. She said more like 3.
Yeah.
And he was agreeable with adjusting the time frame. That was cool or whatever. We talked about Brianna and Vincent coming back together after they talked to Chris and Paige. The other thing that went with them is they go out on the beach in the sand.
Yes.
And they have their first little dinner together as a married couple. Really sweet. They stop. We see them stop, take their shoes off, and Vincent picks Brianna up to walk across the sand.
Yes.
To have the dinner.
He laid it all out, man. My man was smooth.
Yeah.
Vincent laid it out. Look.
We love them.
Romantic date. He takes her across there to sit on the seat. They play footsies underneath the table.
Yes.
In the sand.
And that's when we find out that they took it to the next level the night before.
Yes.
They took it to the next level, and basically it was like it happened organically. It was a matter of, yes, I'm attracted to you, and then with what I was going on with my grandma, the comfort that you gave me, that just made me feel you even more. And I guess they just like Chris was comforting his ex. Brianna was comforting Vincent, and then in the comforting. I mean, they already have been lovey-dovey, kissing up on each other.
Yeah.
That's so. I mean, obviously it's gonna go to the next level. But he said I wanted it to happen organically. It did. That's what happened. And they both enjoyed themselves.
They liked it.
They liked it, playing footsies on the table. They really feeling each other, looking into each other's eyes. They feel like it's a match made in heaven. I ship it. Okay, I ship it. I like it. I love it. Brianna and Vincent. I'm team Brianna and Vincent.
They love it. I like it.
All right. And so that's it with them. All right. So let's talk about
Jacob and Haley.
Jacob and Haley. Okay. So he asked her, how you feeling? How's everything going? Have you talked to your friends since the wedding? And she was like, I've talked to my friends like every day since the wedding. Where was he at when she was talking to them?
Eating meat. Eating steak, eating potatoes, eating eggs, working out.
I'm like, how does he not know she's talked to them every day? But anyway.
He in the gym working out.
She said, I've talked to him every day. My friends he was like, have they picked up on any red flags? No, they haven't really picked up on any red flags. And she was like, have you talked to your friends? He was like, yes, my friends were very positive about the situation. They say I got lucky. Mm-hmm. I got lucky with you. I lucked up. They talk about his workout routine.
Yes.
To get working out, and how he's got Star Wars themed kettlebells.
And she's not a big Star Wars fan.
No, she's not. She said she's never seen not one of them. Not one. And he's like, oh wow, okay.
And I'm sure when they get back home, he wants to show her every single last one of them.
Yes, and he wants her to especially use the Star Wars kettlebells. They talk about working out together. She says, I'm more of a yoga person.
Yes.
He was like, well, I'm willing to try the yoga. If at least you'll try some low resistance training.
Low resistance training.
The one thing I do want to say is while they were eating, she picked fish. Mm-hmm. I don't know what he had on his plate. The one thing we do know that he had on his plate was a big onion ring. A big raw.
Red onion.
A big raw onion. And so he kindly picks the onion ring up, and he was like, I'm going to eat this onion. She's like, oh my gosh, you got that big onion. And he sticks the whole onion in his mouth and eats it.
And she was so disgusted.
And she was like, oh my gosh, you eat raw onions. Which I thought was odd, because you do know you can eat them raw or cooked.
Right.
The most onions in your salad aren't cooked, so just eating a raw onion.
But you don't
it's going to have the same smell effect whether it's cooked or raw.
But you really don't see people who eat just the raw onion. Now, you don't see people just take out. Now, I do, but you don't see people to do that.
No, but he did. And so while they're sitting there talking, she was like, man, like, them onions got your breath kicking. Like, that onion is so strong. He's like,
food kicking.
Oh, man. I was going to lean in for a kiss. She was like, yeah, no.
Not going to happen.
No, not, like, no. You're not going to kiss me with that onion breath.
No.
We see them later coming into what is obviously an aquarium with these funny glasses on. I guess it's whatever, as you walk, they're supposed to help you see or something like that. And so they go to a Shark Reef aquarium for their first romantic dinner together as a couple. On their way to the place, she was like, she thought it was cute that in Las Vegas, which, you know, is known for shows and gambling and showgirls and all that stuff, that they were able to find this nice little thing to do in Vegas. And on the way, he said, we watched the Goonies on the way. I introduced her to the Goonies. We watched the Goonies.
Dude loves the 80s, man. And I'm a Goonies fan. I like the Goonies. My little sister watched the Goonies every day when we was growing up. I like the Goonies. But I don't think on my wedding that I would show my wife the Goonies.
I mean, he's sharing himself with her. He's sharing himself with her, and that's him. I mean, it is what it is. But they asked, you know, like, what's the weirdest, what's the craziest thing you did? And I forgot what she said. But he said the craziest, weirdest thing I did was wearing a pink thong on the beach in Miami. His friends, like, dared him. They found the craziest looking piece of clothing, a pink thong, and he said it's some video footage somewhere, because obviously it was like no cell phones back then. So it's like a VHS tape somewhere with video of me running on the beach in a pink thong.
Dog.
Embarrassing myself. And he loved it. He's like, you know, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
They talked about relationships. She said she had her first serious relationship at 15. He was like, oh, wow. And he had his first serious relationship at 18. And he was like, you know, you're obviously the more braver, adventurous between the two of us. You know, the fact that you be in a serious relationship at 15.
That conversation still was kind of...
But it's getting better.
It's getting better.
It's getting better. I felt their vibe a little bit more. And even at the dinner, they shared a kiss. Yeah. If we go to where the couples were all sitting together, you know.
It was closer together.
He had his arm around her. She was laying in his arms. You know, I feel like they're getting there. They're going to be slow. He wasn't as awkward. She did say, you know, my husband's quirky. I'm seeing a lot of his quirks. But she's okay with it. She's okay with it. And let's see. I think that was it with Haley and Jacob. Because we talked about how she shared how they've been vibing and how their families got along at the wedding.
Virginia and Eric.
And so, yes, this is the last one.
Yeah, they had a lot of conversation.
Okay, so Virginia and Eric, we see them talk about the fact that when they were at the wedding and the reception and everything, her concern was basically, I'm a party girl. I don't see him drinking a lot. Her friends were like, oh man, you know, I don't know if this is gonna fit. He's not really drinking that much. And he just says again, obviously, you know, there's an age difference with us. I'm more serious. I kind of got that out of my system. You haven't. They talk about her being at the top of his list. When it comes to his priorities and stuff. And he says, I don't have a level of priorities. I have a circle. So I had this circle with a missing piece, and now you're in that piece. So I have a circle of priorities. Yeah,
that she's in there. You know, and that's, you know, one thing I've learned about Eric, he's putting everything in perspective. I think we said it the last time. He's willing to commit to the process. And he's not holding anything back from her, too. He's being truthful. Just like Chris is being truthful, but he's doing it in a nice, pleasant way. He's doing it in a pleasant way where she can understand. When he talks about, even when they get to pool, about, I don't think guys and girls can be friends.
Yes.
You know, he did it in a way like, look, I can't hang out with, you know, I don't see you hanging out with your boyfriends all the time. That's not something that I would want my wife to do. Because I'm not home all the time. Right.
Yeah, they talked about them needing to be good communicators. And like you said, when they were at the pool. Oh, that's the one thing I want to point out, too. She's in the bathroom getting made up, and he was like, we're going to the pool. And she was like, still, I got to do my face. I'm not going to get my head in the water. He was like, are you going to get in the water? I'm going to get in the water, but I'm not going to put my head in the water. So I am putting on this waterproof mascara, but I'm not messing my face up, and I'm not messing my hair up. And they talk about the fact that she runs late and everything. And he was like, I'm going to have to help you get that straight. You know, I'm an airline pilot. Can you imagine if I ran late to my stuff, how it would delay the process?
She said she late to work every day, 20 minutes.
Every day.
Every day. Why she still got a job?
he said, I'm going to have to help you with that. But, and she's like, you know, if I get my hair wet, just know that when we go somewhere to eat later, that it's going to take me a while because I'm going to have to do something with my hair. And he was like, well, I just know that if we have to be somewhere at 7, I'm going to tell you start getting ready at 6. I'm going to tell you at 6, which means you're going to start getting ready at 5. And she was like, well, actually, it probably bumped me up to 4. You're going to be all day getting ready, honey. But the one thing she said, they talked about how he's established in his career.
Yes.
And she's still kind of growing in her career. And seeing how he's established in basically his work ethic. It gives me motivation to work on my career goals, yes, and do some things. They talk about the fact, again, that he's an airline pilot. And basically, which, when he said it, I was like, well, all in all, that's not bad. He said, I'm gone, you know, 3-4 days in a row. But then I'm home for a while. And it comes out that really I'm only gone like 15 days.
15 days.
So that's half the month. So half the month I'm gone, half the month I'm there. Which is not bad. And he was like, you know, is this just something you're going to have to get used to because I'm going to be in this. He already know. I'm going to retire when I'm 65.
When I'm 65.
He's like, my dad's had this life. That's what it is. They've worked it out. He was like, whoever I'm with, who I'm with now, mm-hmm, we know going to have to work at it. He said that, you know, that's what happened before, that people that he were with, they had a problem with the fact that he was gone. So instead of looking at the glass half full, they looked at it as half empty.
Right.
You're gone half the time as opposed to appreciating the fact that you're here half the time.
Here half the time. And appreciate the fact he's working, he's spending time with you when he's home. And she was like, who's going to cook dinner? He's like, I'll cook dinner for you. I'll be home. I'll be here. I'll take care of the house. I'll do the things that you need to do. Mm-hmm. When I'm here, I'm here. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be all over the place, but when I'm here, I'm going to be here. Mm-hmm. That's one thing that was key for him. When I'm here, I'm going to be here.
Right. I'm in it. But she did express some nervousness about whether their lives will be able to mesh, right, which is understandable. You know, it makes sense. But, you know, he just tried to reassure her that, you know, we're going to be good. Mm-hmm. And that's it.
Yeah, he took on a nice little date with the waterfall.
Yes.
I went to saw the waters and
no, not the fountain, waterfall.
The fountain would come up. You know, she was surprised and she loved that. Eric is doing everything he can to make sure Virginia's comfortable. And
I do want to get back to, again, like you said, that conversation they had at the pool, because she did say, you know, I have more guy friends, mm-hmm, than I have female friends. And what Eric said is, he was like, not in a bad way, he was like, but guys and girls can't be friends. And he said something that I think was Chris Rock. It was a comedian. I think it was Chris Rock that said it. He said when a guy is friends with a girl, 9 times out of 10, it's because I wanted to go there with it, which is what Eric said. Most guys, when they're friends with you, like, they think about you in that way. At some point, mm-hmm, they have or will think about you in that way.
Yeah.
And I think Chris Rock said it. Women and men become friends when the guy tries to push it to that way and it don't go that way. But trust and believe, they want it to go that way. And so she said she didn't like the jealousy. And I don't think it was jealousy. It's just, he said, I'm telling you from a man's perspective. I know as a man, any female that I'm friends with, it started out that I was trying to get with her and it just didn't work out that way.
Yeah. Or
we started off as friends and then after we've been friends for a while, then I started feeling them. So basically he was just like, I just want you to be aware, mm-hmm, that how men think, and that don't be surprised if. And she was like, no, these are male friends I've had for a long time. I'm not worried about that. Okay. We'll see. But I didn't take it as jealousy. She took it as jealousy. I think it's... I
ain't no married, my friend.
It's concern. It's concern.
Concern.
You know, like, I've seen it happen this way. He said that. I've seen it happen. Mm-hmm. Just letting you know. But anyway, so that's it. We spent a lot of time. We spent a lot of time on Chris and Paige. Expectedly so. The episode was about them a lot.
It was about a lot.
And it wasn't really a whole lot of action with the other couples, honestly.
No, it's a lot of drama on Chris and Paige. Let us know what you think in the comment section. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell notification. And don't miss any of our reviews.
Yes. And get ready for the full-fledged drama because it's about to ensue.
It's about to get bad.
Real.
About to get real.
About to get real. But thank you for joining us. Bye.